All right, shalom, shalom. We are the real Hebrew Israelites coming day in and day out to prophesy the downfall of Babylon the Great, which is America. First off and foremost, all praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, a great millstone, and salutations to the elect, wherever you may be. Brother Sicarii from GMS Chicago coming at you again with a quick lesson through the Spirit. Let me get my notes and everything. Give me a second. Alright. So, as you see the title, the duality of the scriptures. Alright? And I'm starting with Wisdom of Solomon 7:22. For wisdom, which is the worker of all things, taught me. For in her is an understanding spirit holy. One only, manifold. Now, manifold being the key word, right? Subtle, lively, which means, hey, the spirit, the scriptures are always living. There's so many extra levels to it, okay? Clear, undefiled, plain, not subject to hurt, loving the thing that is good, quick, which cannot be let it, ready to do good, kind to men, steadfast, sure, free from care, having all power, overseeing all things, and going through all understanding, pure and most subtle spirits. For wisdom is more moving than any motion. She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness. Now I brought that out because what? It says manifold, all right? There's multiple levels in understandings to certain scriptures, man. All right, this whole thing about Isaiah 34, and it was talking about vultures. Okay, vultures are mentioned in that scripture, all right? But even if you want to take a step further, all the prophecies in the Bible are going to come to pass, all right? And when you actually read that chapter and you go to the end of that chapter and it's talking about the desert, then you jump into chapter 35, it switches. It doesn't let you know that it switches, but it switches. Because you gotta understand, Isaiah didn't write, okay, this is chapter 34, this is chapter 35. No, he wrote as the Spirit was telling him. All right, because when you get to 35, that wilderness is going into something else. But if we're talking about, how do you say, correct sentences with predicates and pronouns and things of that nature, with subject lines and things of that nature, you would think that that desert is talking about the desert that's going into chapter 34. It doesn't change it, it doesn't switch, but through the Spirit we know it switched. All right? So I say all that to say this. There's duality in the scriptures. And before I get into everything else, right? When you're sincere about scripture, or you're sincere about the brotherhood having all things common, and it's, you know, when we get into the knowledge, you get into the doctrine because we want to teach what is right. There's a certain way you go about things, man. Just as, hey, when Elder Apostle Tahar went back and forth with his elders about certain scriptures, it wasn't, hey, motherfucker, you going off? Hey, nigga, hey, you know what? High Priest Ariel, what you think about this scripture? There's certain ways you carry yourself as a young man with the scriptures, all right? Because that could have been easily a, and not saying we all on, you know, none of us is on buddy time. I know that. But it's nothing to reach out to the apostle and be like, hey, what you think about this? Especially if it's in the spirit of, you know, I want to make sure we're teaching the right thing, not I want to one-up you, all right? Hey, me personally, I ain't the fucking wisest guy, nor am I trying to be, all right? I'm doing everything that the Lord gave me, all right? I'm going to fulfill my lot through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, all right? Because there's one that knoweth little, but he fears he feared the Most High. He's greater than that nigga that know everything, man. All right? So there's a certain spirit of meekness and humbleness that you have to carry yourself with, okay? Because I said all that to say this. Oh, yeah, you're going off on that scripture and things of that nature, right, when it comes to us. But the unity camps and this nigga calling on this name and this nigga not believing in the mark and all the other shenanigans, man. Keep that same energy with all those niggas, man. I don't sugarcoat shit, man, because I'm gonna be honest. I can't sit in the same room that nigga preach a whole nother doctrine. Either, hey, brother, this scripture, either we gonna go back and forth and debate, and the brother don't get it, hey, whatever. That's it. No harm done. Hey, whatever, I'm gonna keep it peaceful. But I'm not gonna keep on clicking up with somebody that does not have the same doctrine at all. So that's very hypocritical, man. But anyway, back to this scripture, and I said all that to say this, man. You talking about this one scripture, and yeah, there's a lot of scriptures we don't fucking agree on. Get that. But when it comes to you and those other guys, there should be a plethora of fucking scriptures that you guys don't agree on. There should be videos about it. All right? Because, hey, whether you believe this is talking about vultures or not, have you ever thought that maybe it is double-folded? Maybe the spirit is that deep that what I'm saying and how he's breaking it down still goes together, man. Yeah, I understand about reading scriptures in context, but now there's other scriptures that we use that is out of context, but yet they're still true. So let me, because I don't want to talk too much, but let me give you a couple of examples. Before that, let me read the Psalms. This is Psalms 104 and 24. All right? And listen, this ain't no video, hey, motherfucker, this. Hey, honestly, I want all my brothers that are my brothers that's part of the elect. You know how I write this out, I'm part of the elect. To all be under one spirit, so on and so forth. Because, hey, the elect is going to see eye to eye. Yeah, there's 7 churches. Yeah, I'm pretty sure by the end of it, everybody's going to get it. Everybody that's meant to get it is going to get it. They're going to have all things common in the spirit. They're going to see eye to eye like Isaiah, what was that? 54 and 8? No, 52 and 8 says. All right? So this is Psalms 104 and 24. All right? Because a true example was, listen, man, I think this scripture means this, and I just want to make sure everybody on the same page. Not like, I don't like that, I one up you spirit, man. Verse 24, man. O Yahweh, how manifold are all thy, Salakia. O Yahweh, how manifold are thy works. In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. All right? And it says manifold, right? And yes, I know the Lord has a plethora of works, many works, but how much more the actual spirit, how much more the actual law, and how deep it gets, all right? This is Sirach. We get Sirach. And don't get me wrong, you brothers, y'all teach a lot of things that's on point. Y'all teach a lot of things that the elders have taught and continue to break them down the right way. All right? But, hey, everybody got certain shit they need to fix. Yahweh Shai will never even made, and that scripture wouldn't be in Revelations if all the churches didn't have a certain thing they need to fix about themselves, man. Where was that? Sirach 40, this is Sirach 42. And don't watch the video and just fast forward. Like this is really a sincere video. I'm gonna bring the examples out and we'll go from there. Sirach 42 and 21. All right? He hath garnished the excellent works of his wisdom, and he is from everlasting to everlasting. Unto him may nothing be added, neither can he be diminished, for he have no need of any counselor. Oh, how desirable are all his works, and that a man may see even to a spark. All these things live and remain forever and for all uses, and they are all obedient. All things are double, one against another, and he have made nothing imperfect. All right? So to every this, you got that, so on and so forth. There's layers to this, man. There's a balance to this, man. Okay? Now, let's get into the scriptures, right? So let's get this Jeremiah. Let's go into the confusion of faces, right? This is Jeremiah 7 and 19, I believe. It says, do ye provoke me to anger, saith Yahweh? Do they not provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces? Now, Jake used to break it down like that's Israelites that look like other nations, right? But in the context, it's talking about Jake being shamefaced, right? But here's the flip coin to that. To look like another nation is a fucking shame. To look like something else that you're not is a fucking shame, all right? Hey, even going back in the ancient days to wear different attire of other nations and to keep their customs, that's a fucking shame. All right? This is Baruch. One to 15. And these are all precepts, of course. And you should say, to the Lord our power belongeth righteousness, but to us the confusion of faces. And it should come to pass this day unto them at Judah and to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem. All right? Daniel 9 and 7. Which all these are the same precepts. I'm just, precept upon precept here, a little there, a little, right? Daniel 9 and 7. All right? O Lord, righteousness belongeth to thee, but unto us the confusion of faces, as it is to this day. Which still to this day, we have confusion of faces. We're a shameful nation, man. All right? It says, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and to all of Israel that are near and that are far, through all the countries, whether thou hast driven them because of their trespasses, they have trespassed against thee. So that's why we're in the situation we're in certain things that nature. We're a shameful nation, right? Okay? Now, like I said, Jake used to break it down to, oh, that's Jake looking like another nation. Or acting like another nation. But, hey, that itself is shameful. Okay? I believe we have one more precept. All right, Group 2 and 6. For Yahweh our power, it says, for Yahweh our power appertaineth righteousness, but unto us and to our fathers open shame, as appeareth this day. And that's true, right? No, nobody could debate about that. That's true. So here's the other side of the example for all these examples. And stay with me, man. I know it's a lot of scriptures, but they're going to make sense once I bring them all up. This is Numbers 12. I'm starting with verse 10, and I'm going to run it down. All right? And the cloud departed off of the tabernacle, and behold, now this is when Miriam had got leprosy, right? Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam and said, behold, she was leprous. And Aaron said to Moses, alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, Lay not this sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead, all right? So when you get, that skin tone that Miriam got, all right, the same as Esau Edom, Aaron said, let her not let her not be as one that's dead. All right? That's a whole fucking another nation, man. Of whom the flesh is half consumed when he cometh out of his mother's womb. And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, heal her now, I beseech thee, my Lord. And Yahweh said unto Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, she should not be ashamed 7 days. So to look like something else that you ain't, that's a shame. That's a shame right there, man. Now we know what confusion of faces mean in that context, but there's a flip coin to that as well, man. All right? So yes, that scripture means what it means. But what the brothers say, hey, it's a shame to look like another nation, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's just me showing you a certain example. So I'm going to go from that example to, y'all all know this, the Revelations 2 and 9. Revelations 2 and 9. I know thy works and thy tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogues of Satan. This was talking about Israelites. And it still is, but the dual part of that is, this is talking about Esau Edom too. This is a scripture we could use for him. All right? That's how deep the Spirit of the Lord actually go. You can say one thing and it can mean many things. That's how heavy the Spirit is, man. Even in its own context, man. All right? Because even you brothers use the scripture for that. All right? And I'm not telling you, well, change it, but no, we're going to use the duality of the scriptures, man. Revelations 3 and 9, behold, I will make them of the synagogues of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. I will make them come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. Once again, this is talking about Israelites. But we use this today for Esau Edom. Because they what? They took on our customs, said they're the Jews, and they're not, man. They're not at all. We are. But in context, this is talking about you wicked ass Israelites. But the duality of the Spirit, that's how deep the Spirit is, like the ocean, like water, there's many layers to it, man. And hey, just like the trenches in the ocean are filled with water and have heavy pressure, how much more the Spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai? It's going to get to a point where you just ain't going to be able, you can't take it. That's how deep the Lord is, man. All right? So let me, since I'm on this, Psalms 51 that we use, right? Let me get it. Psalms 51st chapter. You know what? I actually put the wrong scripture in. It's 50 and 17. All right? I'm going to start with 16. But unto the wicked, Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Or that thou should take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing that thou hatest instruction and casting my words behind thee. All right? This scripture was talking about Israelites. But we use it for what? Esau Edom, because Esau Edom has done the same thing. And therefore, this scripture applies unto him this day. Just like the Revelations 2 and 9 and Revelation 3 and 9. These scriptures apply to him today. All right? And that's the duality. That's the deepness of the Spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Shai. And nobody can take that away, man. So think about that, man. You have to consider that sometimes, man. All right? Hey, a situation a couple of years back about the Jeremiah 7 and 4. All right? Let me just get it. Jeremiah 7 verse 4, right? No, was it 14? No, I'm tweaking. Jeremiah 4 and 7. The lion has come up out of his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. He has gone forth from his place to make the land desolate, and the city should be laid waste without inhabitants. All right? In the context, it's going into, was it Nebuchadnezzar? It's going into Nebuchadnezzar, I believe. But, back then, we used to use this for Yahweh Shai. And it came a point in time where the elders said, hey, listen, that's talking about Nebuchadnezzar, so on and so forth. All right? Now, some of our spirits, it's like, I believe it's dual, but hey, we're going to stay on one accord for the most part. All right? And then years after that, hey, the elders broke it down as they broke it down to the point where it was dual. All right, it's both, because that's how the Spirit of the Lord works, man. Is not Yahweh Shai going to come and destroy the Gentiles and lay these cities waste without inhabitants? Is he not the lion? Is he not going to rise out of his thicket? His thicket. Okay. And some things you just some things you just gotta wait on the Spirit to settle. That's it. All right. Hey, before we seen the elders break down 2nd Ezra, the 11th chapter. There was no videos on that. We had to wrestle with that ourselves in Daniel 11. I didn't see no breakdowns on that through the Spirit. A certain brother told me, hey, just deal with it, go into the history, so on and so forth. And communing with the Spirit, hey, we eventually got it. Now, some things we was off on when it came to the 2nd Ezra. I think it was like one thing we got wrong when we did the test. But through the Spirit, the Lord was guiding us the right way. All right? So certain things through the Spirit, you don't need a man to teach you. The Spirit will literally commune with you. Hey, and the brother with Tazawani, my witness, Isaiah 16 and 4. The elders never taught us that breakdown. And we was breaking it down on camera before we heard them actually teach it. And they teach it the same way. And this is years before we heard them say this. All right? So some things you just have to wait on in the Spirit. All right? And I say that because some scriptures, hey, the wisdom of the Lord is manifold, man. All right? Now I'm going to go from that to Matthew's, and this is a real good one, right? This is Matthew's 2 and 15. It says, start with 14. But he rose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt. All right, this is when Yahweh Shai fled Herod, right? And he was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled that was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. We're going to let that marinate, man. All right? Now, I'm going to go from there. Exodus 4 and 22, right? And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn, right? Because Israel was what? The nation of Israel was in captivity under the Egyptians for a certain amount of time, right? Now let's get the actual prophet that said that, right? This is Hosea 11 and 1. When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt. Now, this is Hosea giving the history and a prophecy at the same damn time, man. And literally, when you read the Matthews, it goes into both of them. This was the prophecy of Yahushua fleeing into Egypt and then coming out. And when Hosea was going into it, not only was it a prophecy, he was giving you the history of actually what happened to Israel when they came out of Egypt, man. Okay? And let's read the context like y'all like to say. Verse 2. As they called them, so they went from them, they sacrificed to Beliam and burned incense and grave images. Because, hey, when we came out of Egypt, them niggas were still going off. Even when we got the land, it was still going off. So yeah, like I said, that was one example. Now I'm gonna end it on Paul. Galatians 4:21. All right, because Paul even did it himself. Paul used, all right, a whole covenant as an allegory to break down something that was going on, because he understood the duality of the spirit, and he broke it down in a way where they would get it. Okay? So this is Galatians 4:21. Tell me, ye that desire to be under the law, because to be under the law is bondage, right? It says, tell me, ye that desire to be under the law, do ye not hear the law? For it is written that Abraham had 2 sons, and one by a bondmaid and the other by a free woman. But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh. But he of the free woman by the promise. All right? You had Ishmael and you had Isaac, right? Which things, here it goes, which things are an allegory, for these are the 2 covenants, the one from Mount Sinai, which garneth to bondage. One from Mount Sinai, and then it says, which garneth to bondage, which is Agar. For this Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answereth to Jerusalem, which now is, and it is Salakia, and is in bondage with her children, because Jerusalem is in captivity, right? Although the bond woman was supposed to be the one in bondage, as far as covenant speaking, not physically, but covenant speaking. All right, because one got the promise, all right, and one didn't. But it says, but Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. For it is written, rejoice, thou bearest that bearest not, break forth and cry, thou that travailest not. For the desolate have made more children than she which have had a husband. Now, my brethren, as Isaac was, are the children of promise. But as then he that was born after the flesh persecuted him that was born after the spirit, even so as it is now. Nevertheless, what saith the scripture? Cast out the bondwoman and her son, and the son of the bondwoman should not be heir with the son of the free woman. So then, brethren, here it goes. We are not children of the bondwoman, but of the free, which he was breaking it down as far as we're not under bondage to the captivity of the law anymore. We're free, all right? We're free. We have that grace, that spirit of grace by Yahweh Shai. He used a whole allegory, a whole breakdown of 2 covenants of how Isaac got the promise and the bond child didn't. But he was breaking it down as far as we ain't under the law. But the promise went to them that's under the law. So was Paul wrong for using this allegory? That had nothing to do with the technicality of the Israelites keeping the law. even though by the Spirit, like Paul said, the Gentiles, they're going to believe. Hey, they may not be able to keep all the laws, but hey, abstain from what was it? Animal sacrifice. Oh damn, what was it? Because they was going into the circumcision about basically said they just stay from meat sacrificed to idols and things of that nature, right? But nonetheless, all right, he was going into how these two men had two different covenants, all right? One was bond, one was free. But now that Jerusalem is in bondage to them that persecute the Spirit, but yet Jerusalem is free. Jerusalem is above all, and now it's free, right? But what was he talking about? Free from that letter of the law, man. All right, because we're under grace. But like I said, he used a whole different scenario about covenants to break that down. All right. So once again, that's the duality of the scriptures, man. All right. Hey, that's the. You can't even put it into words, man. All right, because there's certain things that you'll start to see and you start to understand that, man, the Lord really heavy, man. All right. So just take that into account, man. Take that into account, man. Some things ain't as it seems, man. And hey, you can be correct on the scripture here and there, man. But that doesn't take away from what the next brother is saying, especially if he's right. All right. Especially if he's right. And I gave you an example of certain scripture that does that plays on that playing field of spiritual duality, man. Okay? Hey, so with that, hey, it's like if it kind of took too long, I was in here up, but hey, through the Spirit, hey, I pray you was edified, man. All right? With that, shalom.